Welcome, everyone, to Vpod.ai. I'm your host, Mike, and joining me is our expert, Susan. You can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit Vpod.ai to get started today. So to start things off today, I want you to just picture a standard large bathtub.
Okay, like filled all the way up.
Yeah, exactly. Fill it all the way to the brim with liquid. That is roughly 200 liters.
That is a lot of liquid.
It's a ton. And the crazy part is that is exactly the volume of blood that is actively processed and, filtered and balanced inside your body every single day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. By a pair of organs no bigger than, like, a computer mouse.
Oh,
So today's exploration is entirely focused on you, your internal infrastructure, and the body's ultimate kind of unsung heroes, right? The kidneys.
absolutely unsung.
Right. And our mission today is to break down the actual mechanics of these vital filtration engines. And we're basing this on clinical insights from the Taba Kidney Institute.
Which is fantastic because they really understand this stuff on a systemic level.
They do. And we are going to figure out how to keep this machinery running smoothly, not by just memorizing some generic list of health tips, but by actually understanding the biology of what is happening inside you.
Yeah, because, the sheer volume of work these two small bean-shaped organs handle is just staggering.
It really is.
They receive about 20% of your heart's total blood output with every single beat.
Every beat. 20%, that's huge.
It is. But, thinking of them merely as a waste disposal chute, which is unfortunately how most people view them.
Right, like a garbage disposal.
Exactly. That is fundamentally misunderstanding their role. Yes, they filter out metabolic byproducts, but they also really the master chemists of your bloodstream.
Okay, master chemists, like that.
Yeah, because they regulate your electrolytes, they actively manage your systemic blood pressure, and they are actually entirely responsible for activating vitamin D so your bones don't become brittle.
Okay, wait, I want to stop right there and look at that list of jobs. Because, I like to visualize biological systems as like civic infrastructure.
Sure. Yeah.
It seems the kidneys are not just the city's water treatment plant, right?
How?
Filtering out the sludge.
Not at all.
They're acting more like the central pressure management facility for the entire plumbing grid, combined with, like, a chemical synthesis lab.
That is actually a really great way to look at it.
But following that logic, the vitamin D aspect feels completely out of left field to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, if these organs are essentially an advanced fluid filtration system, why on earth are they in charge of a vitamin that maintains bone density? That just seems weird.
Well, it does seem disconnected until you actually look at the biochemistry.
Okay.
The vitamin D that you absorb from sunlight or, get from a piece of salmon, it's biologically inert.
Meaning it doesn't do anything yet.
Right. It is essentially just raw material. Your liver does the first conversion, but it's still inactive at that point. Yeah, so that compound has to travel through your bloodstream to the kidneys, which produce a highly specific enzyme. This enzyme adds a chemical hydroxyl group to the molecule, literally transforming it into calcitriol.
Calcitriol.
Yes, which is the active, usable form of vitamin D.
So the kidneys are basically the final manufacturing step.
Precisely.
And without that active calcitriol, what actually happens?
Well, without it, your intestinal tract is effectively locked. It cannot absorb calcium from the food you eat, no matter how much dairy or, leafy greens you consume.
Oh.
And your body, needing calcium for basic muscle and heart function, will just start leaching it directly from your skeleton to survive.
Oh, my God. So you're saying that if your kidneys begin to fail, you aren't just dealing with, like, a buildup of internal toxins. Your skeleton literally begins to dissolve.
Yes, that is the reality of systemic organ failure.
That's terrifying.
It is, and it really underscores why chronic kidney disease is so devastating. If the kidneys struggle, your blood pressure spirals, your bones weaken, your blood becomes acidic, and eventually you face total kidney failure.
And at that point, you're looking at dialysis.
Exactly. You are entirely reliant on a dialysis machine to perform the work of those two little organs, or, you require complete transplant.
The stakes are just incredibly high here. So logically, if we're dealing with a fluid filtration and chemical balancing system, the first place we have to look for maintenance is the fluid and the fuel we are putting into it, right?
Absolutely.
We hear a lot of noise about hydration and diet all the time, but let's talk about the actual mechanics. What's happening?
Well, hydration is the physical baseline. I mean, your blood is mostly water.
Right.
So when you are adequately hydrated, your blood volume is maintained. That allows your blood vessels to remain wide open and relaxed.
Okay.
The kidneys desperately need that steady, high-volume flow to efficiently pull toxins across their cellular membranes.
Makes sense.
But when you become dehydrated, your blood volume drops, and the body kind of panics.
What does it do?
It releases a hormone called vasopressin.
Okay, and vasopressin, does that basically constrict the blood vessels to keep the pressure up?
Precisely. It clamps down on the vessels to maintain your core blood pressure, but that drastically reduces the blood flow into the kidneys themselves.
So they're getting less blood.
Right. They become starved of oxygen and have to work exponentially harder to concentrate the waste into a much smaller volume of urine.
Wow. And I guess we've all experienced the signs of that strain, right? Like
Yeah.
dark, concentrated urine, dry mouth, that specific kind of afternoon fatigue.
Oh, for sure.
But I want to challenge a piece of conventional wisdom here.
Let's do it.
We are relentlessly told, drink 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. Isn't hyper-focusing on counting standard glasses somewhat arbitrary?
Very much so.
Right. Because if, like, a 110-pound person living in a rainy city like Seattle and a 220-pound person working outside in Arizona are both aiming for 8 glasses, one of them has to be doing it wrong.
You are entirely correct to question that rule. The whole 8 to 10 glasses metric is a vastly oversimplified public health guideline. It's not a biological absolute.
I knew it.
Yeah. Hydration needs are wildly individualized based on your metabolic rate, the ambient temperature, your body mass, and physical exertion.
So what should we do instead of counting glasses?
Validating your hydration by observing your body's real-time signals. Specifically aiming for pale, straw-colored urine and maintaining your energy levels. That is far more scientific than counting arbitrary cups.
Okay, so fluid volume dictates the flow, that's clear. But what about the dietary fuel? How does what we eat mechanically alter this whole filtration environment?
Well, you really want to focus on maintaining a specific electrolyte balance.
Electrolytes, okay.
Yeah, they are charged minerals like potassium, sodium, and chloride that conduct electrical signals in your body. Potassium is crucial.
And we get that from where? Bananas.
Bananas, sweet potatoes, spinach. It's great because it helps relax the walls of your blood vessels, which eases the pressure on the kidneys.
Got it.
But the absolute nemesis of this system is sodium.
Okay, yeah. Everyone knows salt is bad for blood pressure.
Yeah.
But how does it physically damage the kidney itself, like structurally?
The mechanism is actually fascinating. So inside the kidney, there are these microscopic tubes where minerals are either reabsorbed into the blood or sent out as waste.
Right.
Well, sodium and calcium actually compete for the exact same transport pathways in these tubes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when you consume a massive amount of sodium, say, from a heavily processed fast food meal, your kidneys have to work frantically to excrete all that excess salt.
Because it's toxic in high amounts.
Right. And because of that shared pathway we just talked about, it ends up dumping excess calcium into your urine right alongside the sodium.
Uh-oh. And when you have a high concentration of calcium pooling in the urinary tract.
It crystallizes.
Ouch.
Yeah, it binds with compounds like oxalate and literally forms small, jagged rocks, kidney stones.
That sounds horrific.
It is a highly localized, excruciatingly painful condition. And a large stone can physically block the flow of urine out of the kidney.
Which means the urine backs up.
Exactly, causing the urine to back up and swell the organ, which can actually cause permanent tissue death if it's not treated rapidly.
Man, that is an incredibly clear mechanical sequence. Sodium forces out calcium, calcium crystallizes, and the plumbing just gets blocked with gravel.
That's a perfect summary.
But if sodium causes physical obstructions like stones, what is the mechanism behind sugar? What happens when our food choices create an environment of high sugar and, high blood pressure?
That brings us to the most insidious threats. Silent stressors.
The silent stressors.
Let's start with high blood pressure, or hypertension. The kidneys are packed with roughly 1 million tiny filtering units each.
1 million.
1 million in each kidney.
Okay, let me throw out a visual for this.
Go for it.
If we imagine those delicate filtering units inside the kidneys, like a thin paper coffee filter, hypertension feels like taking a high-pressure industrial fire hose and blasting it directly through that fragile paper.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, eventually the sheer mechanical force is going to tear the filter to shreds, right?
That is an excellent starting point, but the biological reality is actually worse than just a simple tear.
Worse. How?
When those high pressure waves hit the delicate blood vessels inside the kidney, the vessels stretch and they sustain these micro tears.
Okay.
But the body doesn't just leave them torn, right? It tries to heal them by laying down thick scar tissue. This process is called glomerulosclerosis.
Glomerulosclerosis. Okay. And scar tissue is rigid, I'm assuming. Doesn't filter fluid.
Exactly. The more vessels that turn to scar tissue, the less filtering capacity you have left. The kidney basically slowly suffocates itself.
That's grim.
It is. And the terrifying part is that you don't feel a thing. You don't feel microscopic scarring happening inside your organs on like a random Tuesday.
So it's totally silent. Does high blood sugar do the same kind of physical damage as the pressure?
It does, but through a totally different chemical mechanism called glycation.
Glycation.
Right. When you have chronic high blood sugar, like in poorly managed diabetes, the excess glucose molecules physically attach themselves to the proteins in your blood vessel walls.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, you can imagine the blood turning into this microscopic, thick, sticky syrup.
Yeah.
It gums up the delicate filtration mesh, causing severe inflammation. And over time, those tiny vessels become stiff, narrow, and totally dysfunctional.
Which leads to failure.
Yes. This is diabetic kidney disease, and combined with hypertension, it is the leading cause of kidney failure overall.
Wow. And this heavily ties into the topic of weight management then. Because obesity is what? The primary gateway to both hypertension and high blood sugar.
Oh, it is the driving force. Adipose tissue, which is body fat, isn't just inert weight you carry around. It is hormonally active.
Hormonally active.
Yes, it actively increases insulin resistance, which drives up your blood sugar.
Ah, I see.
Furthermore, a larger body mass forces the kidneys into a state of hyperfiltration.
Meaning they work too fast.
They literally have to work overtime, 20/47, just to clear the metabolic waste of the extra tissue. They just burn out faster.
Okay, so reducing that mass takes the strain off the engine. But I imagine there's a right and a wrong way to do that, especially for the kidneys.
Absolutely. Extreme, rapid weight loss like crash dieting or severe fasting is actually terrible for them.
Really?
Yes, because it floods your bloodstream with massive amounts of metabolic waste like uric acid and ketones from that rapid muscle and fat breakdown.
Oh, right. The kidneys have to clean all that up.
Exactly. This sudden deluge can overwhelm the kidney's filtration capacity entirely. Weight reduction must be gradual to allow the kidneys to process that metabolic shift safely.
That makes total sense. Okay, so we have the internal chemical threats, sugar, salt, pressure. Let's shift to the external choices we make every day, like our habits. How does physical movement impact kidney function?
Movement is medicine, truly. Just 30 minutes of low-impact cardiovascular exercise like brisk walking, swimming, cycling, it conditions your heart to pump blood more efficiently.
Okay.
And when the heart pumps efficiently, it doesn't have to generate as much pressure to get the blood where it needs to go.
So less fire hose effect.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
It naturally lowers systemic blood pressure, which, as we just discussed, protects those delicate filters from all that scarring.
Right. Okay, that's the good habit.
Yeah.
Now, on the substance side of our habits, smoking.
Right.
We all know it destroys the lungs and the cardiovascular system, obviously.
Mhm.
But how does inhaling smoke alter a filter that's located, way down in your abdomen?
It's a great question. Smoking causes what's called systemic endothelial dysfunction.
Endothelial.
Yes. The endothelium is the very delicate inner lining of all your blood vessels.
Okay.
The toxic chemicals in cigarette smoke cause this lining to become inflamed and physically constrict.
Because they shrink.
Shrink significantly. This drastically reduces the diameter of the blood vessels feeding the kidneys.
Wow.
You are essentially strangling the organ,
Strangling it.
inducing hypoxia, which means it is literally starved of the oxygen it needs just to keep its own cells alive.
Man. Okay. The damage from smoking is a known entity, even if we didn't know the exact mechanism.
Yeah.
But there's another common substance habit that genuinely shocked me when I was looking into this clinical data.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Over-the-counter painkillers.
Yeah.
I mean, I am talking about people popping ibuprofen or naproxen daily for like a stiff neck, a mild headache, or a sore lower back. I do it.
Most people do.
Right. I need you to explain exactly how a simple, seemingly harmless headache pill manages to cut off the blood supply to an entire kidney.
It is a phenomenal question, and it really highlights the danger of treating over-the-counter medication like candy.
Yeah.
So drugs like ibuprofen and naproxen are NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs.
Right. They reduce inflammation. We all know that.
Yes, and they do that by blocking an enzyme in your body that produces chemicals called prostaglandins.
Prostaglandins.
Right. When you injure yourself, prostaglandins are released to cause inflammation and send pain signals to your brain.
Okay.
So you take the NSAID, it blocks the prostaglandins, and your headache vanishes.
Sounds like a perfect solution, honestly. Where is the catch?
The catch is that your body uses those prostaglandins for multiple things, not just pain signals.
Oh.
Inside the kidney, prostaglandins act as local vasodilators. They are the specific chemical messengers that tell the afferent arteriole, which is the main inflow pipe feeding blood into the kidney filter, to stay wide open.
Oh, wow. So when you take the painkiller to block the headache,
You also block the prostaglandins in the kidney.
so the pipe shuts.
Without them, that main inflow pipe clamps shut. The blood pressure inside the kidney drops off a cliff, and the filtration process just grinds to a halt.
That is insane.
The tissue becomes ischemic, meaning it lacks oxygen entirely.
So by treating a minor ache, you are inadvertently choking the blood supply to your filtration system.
Exactly. Now, for a perfectly healthy person who is well hydrated, taking a single ibuprofen for a twisted ankle isn't going to destroy their organs.
Sure.
But if you're taking them daily for chronic back pain, or worse, taking them while dehydrated or while on blood pressure medication,
A lot of people are.
exactly, you are creating a perfect storm for acute or chronic kidney injury. Anyone with chronic pain really needs to consult a physician to explore alternatives,
Like what?
like physical therapy, targeted topical treatments, or even acetaminophen, which is processed differently in the body. Anything rather than routinely sacrificing their kidney's blood supply.
That is a massive paradigm shift for me.
Yeah.
Just because a drug is sitting right there in the grocery store aisle does not mean it is harmless to your internal infrastructure.
Not at all.
So we've outlined how these threats, high blood pressure, high sugar, daily NSAOGR use, operate silently. The scarring and the glycation happen completely under the radar.
Very true.
How can you possibly know your system is failing before you are in a full-blown medical crisis?
Well, your body will give you subtle clues, but you have to know what to look for.
Okay.
One major sign is edema, which is swelling, particularly around your ankles, feet, or even getting puffiness around your eyes.
Because the fluid isn't draining.
Right, the filter is failing, so the excess fluid and sodium just stay trapped in your tissues.
Got it. What about changes in your daily routine?
A very common, often totally ignored sign is nocturia.
Nocturia.
Yes, the need to urinate frequently during the night.
Okay.
See, a healthy kidney concentrates your urine at night so you can sleep through it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But a damaged kidney loses that concentrating ability, meaning it just keeps producing large volumes of diluted urine, forcing you out of bed multiple times a night.
Wow. Okay.
You might also experience a profound, persistent fatigue or even a metallic taste in your mouth.
Metallic taste.
Yeah, that is caused by the buildup of urea and other toxins in the blood that should have been filtered out but weren't.
But let's be honest here. If someone is waking up twice a night and feeling a bit fatigued during the day, they aren't going to jump to organ failure.
No, of course not.
They are going to assume they drank too much water before bed and that they are just, getting older.
And that is exactly the danger of relying on symptoms alone. By the time symptoms are severe enough to force you to actually go to a doctor, you may have already lost 60 to 70% of your kidney function permanently.
60 to 70%.
Yes. You cannot rely on subjective feelings. You need objective clinical data. And that comes from proactive annual testing.
Okay, so what are the specific metrics we need to be asking for during our yearly physical? What do I tell my doctor?
There are two non-negotiable tests you should ask for. The first is a blood test to check your GFR, or glomerular filtration rate.
Okay, let's define that. What is a glomerulus?
Glomerulus is the actual microscopic tuft of capillaries, the physical mesh we talked about earlier where the blood is filtered inside the kidney.
A coffee filter.
Exactly. So the GFR test essentially calculates exactly how many milliliters of blood your glomeruli are successfully cleaning every single minute.
What's a good number?
A normal GFR is generally over 90. If that number starts trending downward year over year, it is a glaring red flag that your filter is losing efficiency.
Okay, GFR over 90. And what's the second test?
The second is a simple urine test called the ACR, the albumin to creatinine ratio.
Albumin. What is that?
Albumin is a very large protein found in your blood. I want you to imagine a screen door, okay?
Okay, screen door.
An albumin is a bowling ball. Under normal circumstances, the bowling ball cannot possibly fit through the screen.
But if albumin is showing up in the urine,
It means the screen door is ripped, the filtration barrier is physically damaged, and vital proteins are leaking out of your body.
wow.
And creatinine is just a standard waste product from normal muscle breakdown that is used as a baseline to measure the ratio.
So finding albumin in the urine is bad news.
It's often the very first detectable sign of kidney disease, long before your GFR drops, and long before you feel any symptoms whatsoever.
So catching that torn screen door early really changes the entire trajectory of your life.
Completely. Early-stage chronic kidney disease can often be halted. With the right dietary interventions, blood pressure management, and modern medications, you can protect your remaining function for decades.
That's reassuring.
It is. But once you reach late-stage disease, the scarring is irreversible. This is why having access to a specialized, integrated healthcare facility is not just a luxury. It is a necessity for long-term survival.
Which brings us back to the clinical insights from the Taba Kidney Institute. Because when you are dealing with a biological system this complex, a fragmented healthcare approach just isn't going to cut it, right?
Exactly. What makes an institution like the Taba Kidney Institute so critical is the continuity of comprehensive care.
Right.
The kidney is intimately tied to the heart, the vascular system, and your metabolic health. They don't just treat kidney failure.
What else do they do?
They have top-tier nephrologists driving preventative care to stop the disease from progressing in the first place. They utilize advanced diagnostics to catch that microalbumin leakage early.
And if a patient is already in the later stages?
They are fully equipped to manage the highest complexities. That means they have dedicated intensive care units, highly specialized vascular surgeons to create dialysis access points, and comprehensive hemodialysis services all under one roof.
That's incredible.
Plus, they engage heavily in ongoing research and patient education. They don't just hand you a prescription, they ensure you understand the mechanics of your disease so you can actively participate in your own treatment.
Actively participate.
Yeah.
That is really the perfect encapsulation of what we've been driving at today.
I agree.
Maintaining your internal infrastructure isn't about, mindlessly chugging water from a jug.
No, not at all.
It is an active, holistic biological effort. It requires managing the glycation from sugar, preventing the fire hose damage of hypertension, understanding the totally silent danger of popping NSAIDs for every little ache,
Yes.
and demanding objective data through those annual GFR and ACR tests to catch the leaks before the dam completely breaks.
It requires a profound shift in how you view your own biology.
It really does.
I actually want to leave you with the final concept to mull over.
Oh, please do.
We have spent this entire time dissecting how the kidneys filter the blood. But consider this. They are not just a passive drain for the body's waste.
Right.
By constantly adjusting your electrolytes, managing your blood pressure, and activating your vitamins, the kidneys are actively regulating your body's entire internal environment.
The master chemists.
Yes, they are constantly fine-tuning the chemistry that keeps you alive. So what if you started viewing your daily choices, from taking a walk to lower your pressure, to choosing herbs over salt, to maybe reconsidering that daily painkiller?
Yeah.
What if you viewed those not as restrictive health rules, but as stepping up and taking the helm of your body's master control center?
Man, that is an incredibly empowering perspective. You are the operator of the control center. Well, thank you all for joining us on Vpod.ai for this exploration into the mechanics of the human body. We hope this knowledge equips you to stay deeply curious, entirely proactive, and truly in control of your health. Until next time, take care of yourselves.